Namaste. Hope you all are doing well. Namaste once again. So today I will be talking about the fall and the rise of human beings. This has no reference to Darwin's idea or the monkey falling from the tree and becoming a man. That's not what I have in mind. That also was a fall. The monkey was jumping from branch to branch, and then he lost his grip, and then he tried to hang on with his tail, and the tail snapped, and he fell on the ground. Then he stood up and looked ahead, and then monkey became a man. I'm not talking about that fall. I'm talking about the spiritual and moral fall of man. The spiritual and moral fall. When we look around, or we look into our own inner mind, we can feel, all of us, regardless of whether you're rich or poor, educated or uneducated, white or brown or yellow or black, man or woman, regardless of all those differences, all of us are going through a state of permanent, consistent, and insistent dissatisfaction. That is what we see. It's very ironic that human beings who have been created after the image and the likeness of Brahman, we all are going through that state of permanent dissatisfaction. There is a deep ache in all of us, in our heart. A kind of nostalgia, let me put it that way. A nostalgia for something which you have lost, a lost paradise, let us say. We are living in that vague memory of a lost paradise. It is inexplicable. We don't know what it was. But still, deep down, we feel we lost something precious. Sometimes psychologists say we all want to go back to the fetal state of security in the womb of the mother. That's why when we sleep comfortably, blissfully, we sleep in that fetal position. All curled up. There's a yearning to go back. Similarly, you may travel all over the world, live in 5-star hotels, deal with your business and $1 million business discussions and all that, but still you want to go back to home and eat from your mother's kitchen. We have that desire to go back. We feel we have fallen from a height. That is why I have put it the fall of human beings. We feel we have fallen. We feel we are deviated from the center. That is why we feel eccentric most of the time, off the center. We feel we have strayed away from our natural habitat, from our home, and we don't know how to go back because time never cannot be reversed. Time moves like an arrow. So we feel we have lost something very, very precious. Some of us want to go back to our villages, don't we? And live a simple life. Though we are living a very rich life in the city, we want to go back to the Sylvian surroundings of our villages. Even philosophers talk about this fall. I remember reading Dante's Divine Comedy. Divine Comedy. Man's rise from inferno through purgatory to paradise. That we all want to rise up, move up. That desire to move up. We all are ambitious people. But the heart of our ambition is a spiritual growth, not material growth. In Indian Puranas, we talk about 3-4 yugas. First it was Satya Yuga, Kruda, Treda, Dwapara, Kali Yuga. Now we say we are living in Kali Yuga. Kali Yuga means rulers are corrupt, women are insecure, children are abused, corruption all around. This is Kali Yuga. So we have fallen from that grace. And all these are expressed in terms of permanent dissatisfaction. We are not happy with whatever we have. We made tremendous material progress, no doubt. But in the process, what was the cost? What was the collateral damage? It was a fall, spiritual fall, moral and ethical fall. Now we are rich enough to reflect, to sit down and reflect. We have enough leisure because we have the fridge and washing machine and ACs and air conditioners, so we have and plenty of money in the bank, so we can sit down and reflect. So far we have been in the rat race. Now it is time for us, especially the corona time, plenty of time to sit and reflect. Reflect about a moral fall. Reflect about our condition and how to lift ourselves by our own bootstraps. That's why I titled this lecture as The Fall and the Rise of Human Beings. How have we fallen? And why? Should be by because of our own stupidity. Don't blame God or anybody. Because God has created you after His image, His or her likeness. And we are free to choose whatever we want to become. So, what was the process through which we came down? Through the same ladder, we have to go up. We have to go up. So first of all, let us become aware of our moral and spiritual decay, a downfall. That awareness is very, very important. Otherwise, unless you feel the heat, you will not do anything. It's time for us to do something. At least some pools of excellence here and there. At this time we feel bound in an island of sorrow, like the Gulliver's travels. Gulliver was lost and washed ashore a small island, and he was tied by several tiny strings. Similarly, we feel suffocated in the midst of plenty. We walked long, long distances from that early stage of hunter and gatherers domesticating animals and plants, and then industrial revolution, the post-industrial revolution, and the digital revolution. We have put a man on the moon, though not a woman. Isn't it? So we have made tremendous progress. We climbed the Everest and split the atom and mapped the brain. Everything we have done and lifted large number of people above the poverty line. And we have at least 500 billionaires in the world today. We have all this. But still, there is a deep ache somewhere in us. And unless we solve that ache, unless we address that problem, in the midst of plenty, we will be miserable. In the midst of prosperity, we will feel we are in an inferno. But I will say comfortably unhappy. Comforts are there. One more pillow here, little more music there. Everything is there. So this is the paradox we are living through. We feel we have lost something precious in the process of doing all this. So how did we come to this state of moral and spiritual decay and downfall? I hope you all are sharing this sentiment, that nostalgia we feel. We feel we have lost something. We are living through that nostalgia. Our heart is aching for something. You know, like the candeloos, something is there, but we are not able to reach there. We are hearing some kind of a music at the background of our mind, but we are not able to say the source of that. We are not able to increase the volume of that music. So today my talk will be based on 4 slokas from Bhagavad-Gita. 4 slokas, 4 verses from Bhagavad-Gita. First 2 verses are from the 2nd chapter. Those are students of Bhagavad-Gita, 2nd chapter, 62nd and 63rd slokas. 62nd and 63rd slokas from 2nd chapter of Bhagavad-Gita. Dhyayade vishayan pumsaha sankasteshu bhajayade Sanga sanjayade kamaha, kamat krodho vijayate, krodhat bhavati sammoha, sammoha smriti vibhramaha, smriti bhramshat buddhinasha, buddhinashat pranasya. Don't worry, I will explain all this. This is for my own remembrance. So, this is the 2 slokas from the 2nd chapter, and another 2 slokas from the 3rd chapter. The 14th and 15th sloka, Annad bhavanti bhutani, Parjanyad anna sambhavaha. So, 3rd chapter, 14th and 15th sloka. Annad bhavanti bhutani, Parjanyad anna sambhavaha. Yajnad bhavati parjanyaha, yajna karma samudbhavaha. Karma brahmodbhavam vidhi, brahmakshara samudbhavam. Tasma sarvagadam brahma. Nityam yajne pratishthita. These are the 4 slokas from which I get my data for today's discourse or discussion. How have we fallen like this? I told you the fall is not a material fall. Materially we are progressing. But at tremendous cost to our peace of mind, to our dignity, our humanity. We have lost our humanity in the process of making this progress. That was the trade-off. And we cannot do it anymore. Because it is seen in the, we already discussed, in the environmental degradation, ozone layers are all punctured. There is no relationship between human beings other than what I can get out of the other. So we are in a very difficult situation. It's time for us to sit down and reflect upon these verses of Bhagavad-Gita, the words of wisdom, It's a time for wisdom, not simple knowledge. As somebody said, from data you get information, from information knowledge, from knowledge you have to get wisdom. Otherwise knowledge becomes exploitative, not transformative. What we need is transformative wisdom, where we can put all of us together. We can stitch everything together, not cut things apart. That kind of a wisdom we require. From being clever, we have to be wise now. So far we have been clever, thinking of strategy and tactics to destroy or dominate or exploit the other. What we require is that wisdom, that love which will bind everybody together. All sentient beings have to be stitched together. That's what kind of wisdom we require. So how did we fall? Where did it start? This spiritual form. So it's time for deep reflection. I'm not trying to fill your brain with information. I'm trying to make your brain light so that we can think properly, reflect, meditate. It's time for that. We have to stop and then stare at the stars, let us say, or look within ourselves. It's time for us. Some of us have to do that, if not all. So how did we fall? What was the beginning of our fall? We feel, deep down we are the divine beings. We feel that. But somehow or other we are not able to actualize. So how did we fall? I slow down because I want you to reflect on this and experience by yourself that you are in a ditch. We are in a ditch now. We have to experience that. No more. More prosperity is not more anymore. That is a situation. More is no more more. More is less. That is the situation. So how did we fall? Where did it start? Now the Bhagavad-Gita says, Bhagavad-Gita gives you 7 steps by which we fell down. 7 stages. Coming down to the lowest level of consciousness. These are all different levels of consciousness. We are on the 7th level of consciousness. Not up, but downstream. How did it all start? That is what we have to think. So Bhagavad-Gita says, Dhyayade Vishayan Pumsaha. It started by ignoring your natural happiness. That's called ignorance. Ignoring your natural happiness. Then looking for happiness outside. Very simple. I have been repeating it again and again and again. But however we may repeat, it's like the dog's tail. It never straightens up. Because it has gone into this problem has gone into our muscles and marrows. So the downfall begins by looking for happiness outside. Like in the Bible, there's a very interesting story. Looking for the apple, particular apple. Though God forbade us from eating that apple of material knowledge. The apple of knowledge. So we look outside for happiness, and from there your downfall has started. You look outside for your security. You look outside for your dignity. You look outside for your identity. Isn't it? We say, I'm a rich man. Meaning what? I have a lot of money in the bank. But inside you are poor. You cannot even spare 1 penny. So, this looking for happiness, looking for security, looking for identity Looking for dignity. Oh, nobody respects me, therefore I am a useless person. This is the beginning of our downfall. This is inexplicable. Why it started, we don't know. Inexplicable. Nobody wants to fall into such a state. This inexplicable. In Sanskrit, we use the word anadi, beginningness. First is looking outside for happiness. You can look outside and enjoy it, but in a dispassionate way. Not getting entangled with it. So looking for happiness outside, whether it is from your children or your spouse or your properties or your cats and dogs. Some people have reduced themselves to that situation. Unless the dog is there, you are not happy. Dog is happy, I am happy. Dog is unhappy, I am unhappy. Dog also look to you. When you are unhappy, dog is unhappy. Isn't it? So, who is responsible for your unhappiness, the dog or you? Dog says, you are responsible for my unhappiness. You stamped on my tail or you did not look at me. You are lost in your own thought and the dog is unhappy, going around and barking and then you don't care. This way we are blaming everybody, including God, for our unhappiness, for our lost paradise, for our own stupidity. So therefore, looking for, this has to be very deeply thought of. It's not a simple thing. In this process, we are losing a lot of things. A lot of bliss, a lot of joy. So, you look outside for happiness, that is called dhyayade vishayan pumsaha. Vishayan means outside objects. That Sanskrit word is a very important word. Vishayan means vishinodi, that which put a hook in you. Like, this fish going around nibbling at things, then sees a worm, and then it goes nibbles at the worm, but the worm has got a hook. And it nibbles and it is hooked. The fish is hooked and fish is pulled out from its own paradise. The fish was in paradise, isn't it? But it keeps on nibbling and comes to this worm, and then the worm had a hidden hook, and then it is hooked and it is pulled out. So similarly, Vishayas, these objects, it can become an addiction for you. You can become greedy. If you are sure about yourself, then you will take only what is necessary. You have the viveka, discrimination, understanding what is good and what is bad. But here in your alacrity, you lost your discrimination. You lost your judgment. And then you are game for anything. That's what has happened. You lost your sight. So first is Vishayan, Dhyayade Vishayan Pumsa. And the second is Sangasteshu Bhajayade. Then you develop an attachment for that object. It can be a person, it can be an animal, it can be a place, it can be anything. Attachment means what? You start remembering that object in its absence. I am missing it. I have missed something. That kind of a attachment is developed. You start dreaming about it. You start thinking about it. You lost your focus. You lost your meditation. You are in agitation now. Think about it. Think about it. It's not a rocket science what I'm saying. It's something which we can think and understand. So you start thinking about it. It's not with me. When will I get it? If I don't get it, I'll be miserable. So you lost your focus now. You lost your center. Dhyayade Vishayat. Then you become an addict. You become mad after that. So Dhyayade Vishayan Pumstaha Sankasteshu Bhajayade. You develop extreme attachment. You start thinking about it, dreaming about it, devising strategies to some or other procure it. Because without that, I am incomplete. Without that particular object, I am incomplete. And you lost your fullness in the process. You lost your fullness. So, dhyayade vishayan pumsaha sankasteshu bhajayade. Sanka sanjayade kamaha. Kama means extreme desire for that particular object, a particular person or place, whatever. Without that, I am incomplete. With that, I may be complete. I'm not sure, but still, I think I'll be happy with that. Sankasteshu bhajayade, sanka sanjayade kamaha. This enormous greed and desire, and you are ready to do anything to get it at any cost. At any cost. So, sanka sanjayade kamaha. The third step. The first step is looking at that object, then forgetting who you are. Second step is that feeling of, without that, I will not be complete. Third step is extreme desire. Once that desire arises, then you are out. Then you are out. Like a prodigal son or prodigal daughter, you are out. Because you cannot stay calm. You cannot stay calm. You lost your inner calm. Earlier I told you, you can happily go behind it, no problem. The problem comes when you go behind it for happiness. That is a big mistake we are making. I'm not against pursuing goals and realizing goals and then, going on like that. The more goals you pursue, the more you can go deeper for wider. So I have formulated a mantra. Goal realization is God realization. Goal realization is God realization. Why do you say that? As you pursue these goals, you are able to invoke your inner potential, your inner happiness. But that's a different story. That language we don't understand now. So therefore, let me complete this story. So you are extremely attached to the desire and you are moving towards that object like an arrow. And then we find obstacles coming. Vigraha bhagavaha sandhi. There are a lot of obstacles in our path. When you are running behind something, that something will run away from us. That we have seen. When I run behind something with this alacrity, then that object run away from me with the equal alacrity. So there are several obstacles. Imaginary obstacle, real obstacle, necessary obstacle. Some obstacles are necessary that you don't get it and get into problem. So when these obstacles come between you and the object of your desire. Your desire becomes anger. Is it not? Most of us are angry all the time. All the time we are angry. Anger has gone into our system. And we have no hold over that anger. For no reason we are angry. So, from pursuing object outside for our happiness, desire arises, and the desire is obstructed, then there is anger. So we are all angry. That is our present profile, default nature. That's our nature now. All the time we are angry. Anger has become our nature. Anyway, you see, children are angry. Your spouses are angry. Your servant is angry. My God. Everybody is angry. Why are we angry? We don't know. Why are we angry? Anger has gone deep into our system, into our marrows. So he says, Dhyayade Vishayan Pumsaha Sangas. So reflect on this, please. This is not for you to analyze your neighbor. This is for you to reflect yourself. Your neighbor knows that, Swamiji, you are right. My mother-in-law is always angry. Your mother-in-law may be angry, but what about you, sir? Look into yourself. This is not, I am not giving you a stick to beat others. I am giving you a mirror to hold against yourself. Hold this mirror against yourself, because transformation has to happen from the individuals. Then alone institutional transformation is possible. Cultural revival is possible. And the individuals transform. I don't see any hope for transformation. A few individuals must determine to transform themselves. So anger. Hold a mirror. I'm holding a mirror. I'm holding a mirror against myself. When do I become angry? Why am I angry? So please understand, whenever you are angry, it is your own problem. You are putting an acid in the vessel of your mind. That will corrode you. That compromise with your character, your integrity, your dignity. So you are not angry. You may feel I am angry because of that person. You are angry because of your own inner sense of inadequacy and incompleteness. Unanalyzed life. So don't blame anybody. You are destroying yourself in the process. Anger is our greatest enemy. It leads to violence. And violence is the greatest threat that humanity faces today. In olden days, violence was okay. Now your violence has got atom bombs. Your violence has got atom bombs inside it. It can destroy the whole humanity. So anger. From anger, Sanga Sanjayade Kamaha, Kama Krodho Vijayade. Krodhat Bhavadi Sammoha. As a result of Krodha, Sammoha, delusion, you go crazy, mad. You become mad. Sammoha, all kind of madness, loss of judgment. And you don't know what will you do next. You go against your innate goodness, the character that you have developed over a period of time. In 1 second, you behave like a mad person. You don't know what to do. You can talk, you can do such things. In 1 minute, you have destroyed the whole edifice of your life. Then you regret, oh, I should not, as they say, you act in a hurry and repent in leisure. You know, I remember a story when President Ford in America, the Ford was president, he was the only unelected president as far as I remember of United States. And he was giving a speech in the White Play, in the military academy. Because he is the commander-in-chief of the biggest and largest army. So in this passing out parade of the cadets, so he was giving a pep talk. And half through the pep talk, one of the cadets, who has gone this successfully the 3 years of training, he rushed toward the president before his security details could catch him. He rushed toward the president, giving a slap across his face. And the security details converged on this young man and then pulled him away from the president and took him to interrogation chamber and asked him, young man, you had these 3 years of training and why did you do that? Why did you do that? Of course, I thought the president deserved it, but then I cannot say that. So why did you do that? The young man said, I just felt so. I was angry with my dog. He had a pet dog. I was angry with my dog, and that anger I carried to the ceremony. And when the president was going on and on, I felt so angry. I rushed towards him. I could not control. I slapped the president. And here I am. Now he is stripped of his honor and was taken in the prison, and now he is repenting leisurely, isn't it? You acted in hate, of anger, delusion, not knowing where you are, who you are, and what is going on. In that anger, moment of anger, the brain doesn't function. Why the brain doesn't function in anger? Bhagavad-Gita says, Krodhat bhavati sammoha. Delusion. You see things which are not there. When you're angry, your beloved wife become a monstrous, isn't it? Because of anger. Just a few minutes ago, she was so beautiful, so wonderful. Now because of anger, she looks totally different. So, Krodhat bhavati sammoha. Sammoha smriti vibhramaha. All that you have been taught, educated, all your education falls apart. Smriti vibhrama. Smriti means your character, your memory, your education, your culture, which you have developed over a period of time. What is right, what is wrong, that ability to determine what is to be done, what not to be done, that is lost. Smriti Branshat, Buddhi Nasha. We lose our judgment, our memory, our education, our culture. Don't you say that, don't provoke me beyond a point, then I'll show you my real nature. That means your nature is animal nature. I have some or other, put a lot of makeup on me, and then I pretend as though I'm a good man by it. My real nature is something different. Don't provoke me beyond a point. Then I will show you you don't know my real nature. Your real nature is an animal nature. At this point, I am tolerating you and all that. So he says, you lose your judgment. With much difficulty, your parents have taught you what to do, your teachers have taught you, your culture has taught you, the scriptures have taught you, your gurus have taught you what is right. But we are not able to act according to that. So this is the ladder of your fall from the moral and spiritual summit. You are there, spiritual summit, in search of your lost happiness. The lost paradise is your lost happiness. How did you lose it? Because you did not look inside. You always looked outside. You have not developed the third eye. Tomorrow, meditation, I will be talking about the third eye. You have not opened your third eye. You did not look inside. It is just behind you, just beneath, just within you. It is time for us to reflect. It is time for us to climb up, to regain our moral summit, our spiritual dignity. So how do I do that? I am in this stage. Has Bhagavad-Gita any suggestion for that? Any program of action for that? How do I begin? Where do I begin? All of us are lost. So as paradise lost and paradise regained, isn't it? John Milton, paradise lost and paradise regained. From the inferno through purgatory to the paradise. From the Kali Yuga to the Satya Yuga. How does it go? What should I do? It's because of our own choices. You cannot blame anybody. We created this situation through our own choices. So now we have to make bold choices so that we can regain our lost sanity, lost happiness, lost peace of mind. How do you do that? Now we come to the third chapter. The third chapter of Bhagavad-Gita, I told you the 13th and 14th slokas, third chapter of Bhagavad-Gita, is talking about lifting ourselves. Bhagavad says, Uddhared Atmanatmanam Natmanam Avasadayed Atmaiva Atmano Binduhu Atmaiva Rivaratmanaha. You have to lift yourself by your own bootstraps. If you make an effort, then you become your friend. If you are not making an effort, if you are going down the street helplessly like a log of wood, then you become your own enemy. So finally Bhagavad-Gita says, you are your own enemy, you are your own friend. No, don't blame anybody. You have to make an effort. As I told you, sit down in Padmasana and sit in that Chin Mudra and then look at your breath, and then you will be able to break the gravity. And you can fly into the paradise. So we have to do that. We have to take personal responsibility for this downfall of humankind from its paradise. It is time for us to do. It is time for us to do. We cannot wait anymore. We cannot wait anymore. So how do I do that? How do I walk back? How do I roll back? How do I find my roots or my summit, my zenith? How do I reclaim my lost dignity? Bhagavad-Gita Solution. So Bhagavad-Gita is not only doing a diagnosis and analysis, it also offers a solution. The problem with the modern academia is they analyze things, they pull things apart, but there is no solution. They don't offer any solution. Neither science, nor even modern philosophy. Modern philosophy takes you to deeper and deeper angst and anxiety. So Bhagavad-Gita, the beauty of Bhagavad-Gita is it gives you solutions. Not only it analyzes, it problematizes the whole situation, but gives you solutions also. Provided you are ready. And we are ready now, I think. We are ready because we have come to a cul-de-sac, dead end. Further progress means deep into the ditch. So what is the program of redemption from the inferno to purgatory to the paradise? The purgatory is following a certain program of discipline. We have to discipline ourselves. What are those disciplines? Bhagavad-Gita says, let me chant that sloka once again in Sanskritam. Annad bhavanti bhudani. This is the 3rd chapter, 14th and 15th sloka. Annad bhavanti bhudani parjanyad anna sambhava yajnad bhavati parjanya yajna karma samudbhava karma brahmodbhavam vidhi brahma akshara samudbhavam tasma sarvagadam brahma nityam yajne pratisthidam. Bhagavad-Gita says, first you have to have a whole vision. It's a matter of vision. Samyak drishti. A whole vision is to be gained. What they call the global vision these days. The global vision. What is the global vision? What is a global vision? Bringing all stakeholders into your thinking. Thinking of the consequences of your action. Nobody is left behind. The Samyak vision, the global vision. The big picture, as they say these days. Because then alone, unless you have a big picture, you cannot take even one step forward properly. So that big picture comes through reflection, not by simple action. Then you know, when you have the big picture, you can take step after step after step you can do. And whenever necessary, you can course corrections and all that possible. So what is that big picture? The big picture can lift you from your material identity to a spiritual identity. From the material to the spiritual. From the gross to the subtle. From the effect to the cause. That picture we have to gain. It is a horizontal expansion and a vertical expansion also. The sign of a cross. Horizontally and vertically we have to grow. We have to strike deep roots so that we can touch the stars. Expanding your vision. At this point, what is your vision about yourself? Expanding your vision about yourself. That is what we are talking. I am not talking about outside things. Because you are the center of the universe. You are the center of the universe. The whole universe is around you. And each one of us is a center. And each one of us can have a circle around. Expanding, ever expanding circle. So what is that big vision we are talking about? The big vision is about ourselves. Not just about the world. Of course, world we can think of billions and billions of miles, and then light travels billions of miles and all that. You can think of that. I'm not talking about that. We are looking at ourselves and we are expanding our own idea about ourselves. A self-expansive vision. How do you gain that? No, I'm not talking about an astronomical vision, where you can look through a telescope. Oh my God, this world is so huge, big. I'm not talking about looking through a telescope. I'm talking about through a microscope. I'm talking about reflection, expanding your own self. How do I do that? Where do we begin from? Bhagavad-Gita. Bhagavad-Gita in its own way. We can interpret in different ways. But Bhagavad-Gita has got a way of discussing this. A metaphorical way of discussing. So Bhagavad-Gita says, at this point, we think we are a Buddha. Buddha means a physical entity made up of flesh, bones, marrows, blood, hair, upper skin, dermis, epidermis, full of anxiety, tension, anger, jealousy. This is our inner content, isn't it? I am a basket of the skin and then bones and made up of all that, and inside there is feces and urine and undigested food, and the head undigested informations, and the heart anger, jealousy. This is me now. Is anything else in you now at this point? The bag of filth filled with the filth. Psychological filth, psychological garbage, psychological filth, undigested informations, utterly confused, ready to take a gun and shoot 10 people. This is me now. This is me. And in the process, I drugged myself. I polluted myself. I polluted the world. This is my idea about myself. So, let us lift our vision a little bit. How did you get this body? This body is a modified food. Food. Annam. Annad bhavanti bhudani. This body is nothing but modified food. So I am talking about your own expansion. Because you are the center of the universe. Annad, think of that. This body is made of the modified food. All the idli, dosha, sambar, and then pizza, all that you have eaten. Annad bhavanti bhudani. This is the body. Where does the body come from? Where does food come from? Annam. Expand your wish. Where does the food come from? So according to Bhagavad-Gita, anna means food. The food that you eat. The food your parents ate. I think I have discussed it in another lecture. The food that your parents eat and the food that you eat later. And then you become food. That's the body. That's a very primitive vision about yourself. I am this body. It's a very primitive vision. And I am surprised to see the postmodernists also talk, you are just the body. Body embodiment. Nothing more than that. Look at the tragedy of philosophy. Philosophy from metaphysics, it has fallen down. The state of saying you are just the physical body, just a modified food. I have no pun in saying modified. Please don't misunderstand. There's no pun involved in that. I have no Narendra Modi in my mind at this point. So you are nothing but modified food. That's what our understanding is. Now, where does the food come from? Bhagavad-Gita says. Go to the root. The food came from rain, he says. Rain. The rain. Which is true. There is no rain, there is no food. There is no harvest. There is no food. So, your food comes from the rain, the clouds, rain, and the earth has got plenty of water. Then you can plant rice and wheat and vegetables. And whether you are a vegetarian or a non-vegetarian, you all depend upon vegetables. Non-vegetarian also, cows and pigs and all, they all eat vegetables or grain. If you are a non-vegetarian, you are only double-cooked vegetarian, that's all. You eat a double-cooked vegetarian. So it comes from the rain, he says. Look at this, look at the source. We are not thinking about it. We don't see the link in the chain. So seeing the various links in the chain is somewhere or total global vision. So you are nothing but the food that you have eaten. So be very careful about what you eat, when you eat, how you eat, with what attitude you eat. Because your psychology is dependent upon what you eat, when you eat, with what attitude you eat. If you eat with this attitude, then you are in samadhi at that time when you are eating. That the food that I eat comes from the rains. That itself is a samadhi. It itself gives you peace of mind. This is one step in samadhi. The food that I eat is a grace falling from heaven. I didn't do anything about that. The water in the ocean lifted up and then become clouds and coming down. I become very grateful. I have a deeper understanding of myself. And where does the rain come from? Bhagavad-Gita in a very interesting twist. We need a little reflection here. The rain comes from yajna, he says. Yajna. Sacrifices. A lot of people do sacrifice. Perform the yajnas. As a result of that, we establish relationship with the gods. That's the Bhagavad-Gita's language. There's a lot of deep meaning in that. When we do the yajna, we keep the demons under control and help the divine forces to become active. Because human beings are the bridge between the gods and the demons. It all depends upon how we behave. Our behavior can help the divine forces and keep the demonic forces under control. So by performing yajna, you are able to yajna means these sacrificial acts, the devotional acts. you are able to keep the balance between the divine and the demonic. Balance within ourselves. Because we have a divine, the demonic forces fighting for dominance over our mind. We are in that junction. So by performing yajna, the simple meaning of yajna is every day morning you get up. Every day morning you get up, take a bath if possible, otherwise wash your face, and then build a fire in a controlled way in the fire pit and offer things. Whatever you eat, whatever you have, you offer into the fire. And supposedly, this offering goes to the gods and empower them and keep the demons under control. There is a deep mystic meaning in that. And the modern idea of yajna is we all pool our resources together and keeping in our goals in mind, higher goals in mind, we pool our resources together and work together for common good. That's the meaning of a yajna in the modern sense. Pool our resources together and work for common good. And the common good is the divine power we are talking. So we can create energy, synergy, high-energy, all those things. The yajnat bhavati parjanya. When you pull our resources together and work for common good, that's the big vision I am talking about. I am working for common good. That big vision. And we have to train ourselves, educate ourselves for that. And the Bhagavan says, you have that power to dream for the common good. We have that power. Provided we train ourselves. If we don't train, then it won't be developed. The yajnat bhavati parjanya. And where does yajna, how can yajna be successful? So now you understood. The physical body is a modified food. And when we say food, let us go a little deeper into that. Food also means whatever you take through your five sense organs. It is not only whatever you take through the mouth. What you read, what you see on the television or in the social media or from your friends. All that comes through the five sense organs is food for you. And they all determine your character, your sense of who you are. Your ideology, your beliefs, your faith, your pursuits, your sense of happiness and unhappiness, your likes and dislikes. All these are determined by all that comes through the five sense organs. These are all food for you. And all that you receive through your sense organs will determine who you are. Also is a result of human productivity. We worked together for that. We created this civilization and culture. It is by our common effort. Our grandfather, our great-grandfather, we are standing on their shoulders as a cultured, ethical, moral human being. We cannot ignore all. So by our own common effort, we created this culture. We are living in a cultural bubble, let me say that. Not just nature. We have socialized nature. We have colonized nature, let me put it in that way. And we are living in that. So this, what we have created together over centuries, is a reign we are talking about. All these are in our laboratories, libraries, and museums and education institutions. All these are there. And we are imbibing all that to build our own inner character. So how look at your roots. You are not a simple individual. You are a product of several forces coming together. You are a product of a natural and social history. You are not a simple individual. You are a complex entity. You are a dish made from several kind of vegetables and cooked in a beautiful vessel. But of course, this dish is not that tasty anymore. So then bad. Therefore, you don't taste. You are distasteful, as they say. So look at the complex forces that have gone into making who we are. So annad bhavanti bhudani parjanyad anna sambhavaha. Yajnad bhavati parjanya. This entire cultural asset that we are enjoying today is because the effort of several people across millennia. That is what we call yajna. Of course, the sun and the moon also participate in deciding who we are, determining who we are today. Yajnad bhavati parjanya. Yajna karma samudbhavaha. Here is the skin here now. Yajna karma samudbhavaha. Yajna is possible when each one of us do our duties to the best of our abilities. It's karma. When each one of us are honest to ourselves, honesty to oneself, and then do our duties to the best of our ability, then alone this yajna will be successful. If you are trying to pull each other's leg, first shake your hand and see how strong you are, then pull each other's leg, then we all will fall down together. So this sense of unity is very, very important. If I destroy, if I pull you down, I also get pulled down. So yajna karma samudbhava. Karma is very, very important. Every individual doing their respective duties are very, very important. That is the purpose of education. Character. We talk about a Rama Raja, again nostalgia. About a lost Rama Raja, isn't it? Now we are living in a Ravana Raja. What is Ravana Raja? 10 heads and 20 hands and grabbing everything. And still not happy. After all this, he has got an island to himself, a jet to himself, an airplane to himself, and diamonds and gold and everybody, lot of servants, still he is not happy. He wanted to look to that poor Sita, Mataji, Sita. We have heard that story. So we are living in a Ram, but we have that nostalgia for the Ram Raj, the lost paradise. So yajna bhavati parjanyaha yajna karma samudbhava. Each individual has to do their duties. Nobody has to tell you what is your duty. You must know by yourself and be honest to yourself so that you can become an authentic person. Yajna is possible when we create authentic beings, authentic individuals who can stand up for themselves, who can speak for themselves, and who can say, this is what I can do and this is what I expect. Yajna karma samudbhava. Now karma brahmodbhavam vidhi. That's another interest. To know what is your true identity, what is your true mission and calling, don't just look into your own impulses. Your impulses may not tell you that. You have to restrain your impulse and look into your spirit. You need some discipline for that. That discipline comes from scriptures. Scriptures are the wisdom codified in the books, text. That's our collective wisdom. which you call the Vedas in the Indian tradition, or the collective wisdom, the Vedas in the Indian tradition, or the Bible in the Western tradition, or the Quran in the Arabic tradition, or the Confucian teaching in the Chinese tradition. Because these are all talking about culture, the right way of being in this world. So don't just look into our own selfish interest and then our own impulses. Our own reptilian brain may not be able to help us. We have to drown ourselves, drink from the collective wisdom, drink from the nectar of collective wisdom. Then alone we will be able to train ourselves. That is why karma brahmodbhavam viddhi. Brahma means this collective wisdom contained the Vedas, the Bible, and all that. Because however technologically progress we are, our roots are in these texts. Let us admit that. Our idea of what is good and bad, our idea of what is desirable and undesirable, are all rooted in these texts, these wisdom traditions. We are biologically and psychologically determined by these traditions. So therefore, don't just look into your own immediate needs or impulses. Let us educate ourselves by this immortal wisdom tradition. That is why karma brahmodbhavam viddhi. And where does this collective wisdom come from? Brahma akshara samudbhavam, a collective human consciousness. Human collective consciousness, which is the foundation for everything. Akshara samudbhavam. So where are your roots now? From food, rain, yajna, karma, Veda, and finally, collective human consciousness. There is where our roots. From there we have to grow. From there we have to discover our resource and our energy and our inspiration. Then alone we will be able to live in this world with a sanity. Then alone we can recapture the paradise lost. And when we reach there, we will know. A kind of deja vu comes to you. This is what I want. Till such time you will be unhappy, I tell you. Till such time you will be discontented, you will be dissatisfied. Unless you recapture this lost paradise, which cannot be improved further, we will be unhappy and discontented. It is there. And we have to climb these steps to reach that zenith of our being. Paradise lost. 7 steps coming down, 7 steps going up, the Bhagavad-Gita says. So let us decide that through this process, developing this grand vision, a total vision, let us lift ourselves to this lost paradise. You don't have to create it anew. You don't have to create it. You have to only know it. Expand your vision. Discover your roots. And find your ultimate destiny. So these 2 slokas, please read that, reflect on that, and then we will know how wonderful, how blessed we are. We are not a lost people. We are really blessed people. We have to understand that. So thank you very much, and reflect on that and see how blessed we are. So next talk will be on God's children. God's children. The expanding circle of love. Bhagavad-Gita. God's children. The expanding circle of love. So thank you very much. Hari Om.